Alright, so Devin Haney retains his undisputed lightweight world title with a 12 round unanimous decision over Vasiliy Lomachenko. Now, a lot of people are unhappy about this fight. A lot of people feel as though Vasiliy Lomachenko won the fight. In particular, they're upset with Dave Moretti's scorecard of 116-112, and that is too wide a scorecard in my opinion. As far as I'm concerned with this fight, I felt Lomachenko done enough to win the fight, right? And going into this fight, I didn't do a prediction video on it because I was kind of going back and forth. But since this fight was announced, I've been favouring Devin Haney. Favouring him to win this fight on points. And to be honest with you, I kind of thought he'd win it on points with those kind of scorecards, but deservedly so. Now, of course, people are out there saying, robbery, robbery, robbery. It gets thrown around a lot, that word in boxing. In my opinion, this fight was a very competitive fight the whole way through. It was very close. There was a couple of rounds like the first round, the fourth round, rounds like that where you really had to look and say, right, what do I like here? Because Loma has landed eye-catching shots. He's landed some good body shots. He's snapping Haney's head back with the jab. But Haney is counter-punching very well. And although Loma threw more, they landed a similar amount of power shots. And look, I'm not going to lie, people would know when I score fights, I tend to favour clean power shots as opposed to volume for the most part, right? I like seeing the good counter shots. I like seeing some power shots get thrown. So for me, this fight was fairly nip and tuck throughout. The rounds that Loma was winning and he was dominating in were very clear. The issue I have is the scoring, especially from Dave Moretti. I mean, let's talk you through the 10th round, right? That was a round where Lomachenko, in my opinion, he stunned Devin Haney with a right hook early in that round, and he really pieced Devin Haney up in that round. And it seemed in the 10th round, Loma potentially maybe could have at least dropped Haney or maybe actually forced something. It was a bit like the 10th round with Joshua Usyk, where Usyk came out all guns blazing. He stunned Joshua a couple of times, and you kind of got the impression that if he really did step on the gas and empty the tank, for want of a better word, he could do something here. Now, Loma, a bit like Usyk, just pieced him up in that round ends, and somehow, amazingly, Dave Moretti scores that round to Devin Haney. Now, that really is a shocker. And this is something that's been happening a lot more frequently in boxing. And it's a worry. And I think that these judges need to be held accountable for bad scoring in terms of rounds. Because how any judge could look at that 10th round, and the other two judges, of course, gave it to Lomachenko, rightfully so, how they could look at that round and give it any way other than to Lomachenko, for me, is a head scratcher. I mean, it was a clear round for Lomachenko, and it brings me back to Canelo versus Bivol. Okay, the right guy got the decision in Dimitri Bivol, yes. But the fact of the matter was, there was rounds there where Canelo did absolutely nothing. Like, the first 4 rounds, he barely did anything. And I can't remember who the judge was who gave it to him, but he gave him the first 4 rounds. No questions asked. I mean, literally in the first round of that fight, Canelo didn't do anything. And somehow, he's winning those rounds. That's something that needs to be addressed, in my opinion, in boxing. And I remember when, I can't remember who the judge was in the Joshua Usyk fight, who scored the rematch, who scored the fight for Joshua. But Rob Tebbett from ID Boxing, all those boxing news now, he went and he actually cornered that judge and asked him questions. And the judge was doing his best impression of a politician. When you ask a politician difficult questions, ask my superior, not my problem, not my problem. That real kind of resigned, I messed up, but just leave me alone, that kind of one. Now, in terms of this fight, it was a very good fight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the actual card. I watched the Nakatani-Andrew Maloney fight, knockout of the year. It's going to be hard-pressed to top that. Great fight. Lomachenko, I said this in, I think it was Review of the Week, that you write him off at your peril, and I've made that mistake in the past, especially after the Teofimo Lopez performance. In this fight, he looked refreshed, he looked rejuvenated, he did look the smaller man in there, noticeably. He's not a natural lightweight, as we know, he's more a super featherweight, and he definitely looked the smaller guy in there. But as the fight went on, he actually started bullying, in my opinion. He started bullying, getting a bit more confident. When it was apparent that the clinching wasn't going to be a factor, Lomachenko, with his superior footwork, just started taking a foothold in this fight and started peppering up Devin Haney and really picking up the points. Although Devin Haney, with his counter punching, even in the second round, he was landing some good counter shots. The only problem is Loma was retaliating with a little flurry now and again. And I think that was, between the commentary and the fans, I think that was taking the eyes off some of the good work Devin Haney was doing, because he was doing some good work. His jab was working very good, Devin Haney, as was Vasiliy Lomachenko's. And, Devin Haney, how would I describe it? I think that the commentary was too pro-Loma. And I think that a lot of people were missing, because when Loma would land and he'd snap Devin Haney's head back, you'd hear the commentators on ESPN, Lomachenko, and I think that was kind of drawing people away from some of the good work, from the technical work that Devin Haney was doing. Good at long range, jab was working well, very accurate with his power shots. Although he threw less punches, he actually landed at a higher percentage in terms of power shots. So he was getting through with the power shots there on Vasiliy Lomachenko. Devin Haney has no real power in those shots, so Loma was never deterred. He was never worried about it. And, people were saying this is going to be like Teofimo Lopez. And I said it won't be like Teofimo Lopez. As you saw, Loma from the first bell was on it like a car bonnet. He knew, right, get in, use my footwork, get inside, land my shots. He wasn't afraid of what was coming back from Devin Haney, whereas with Teofimo Lopez, he knew this guy can bang. And a lot of people were saying that Devin Haney would be too long, he'd be too rangy. Look what he did to Kambosos, and it's like Kambosos is a poor man's Lomachenko, to say the least. The pressure is not sophisticated with Kambosos, it is with Lomachenko, and you could see that he was confusing Devin Haney at times in there. But Devin Haney was still live, he was still dangerous, he was still landing some good counters, his jab was working well. When you look at the 12th round, his jab was still beautiful in that 12th round. Devin Haney, in my opinion, took that 12th round, really. Even though Loma did a little bit of a flurry at the end, it was still a Devin Haney round. So we get to the end of the fight, and obviously I was thinking it'd be split, but no, it was unanimous points decision for Devin Haney. Reasonably close on the two scorecards, there's only a round in it. I've no issue with Devin Haney winning this fight, truth be told. I actually quite like to see a rematch. I think it was close, it was competitive, it was nip and tuck. I preferred the work that Lomachenko was doing personally. Just in my opinion, I preferred the work that Lomachenko was doing. I thought he'd just done enough to nick it. But I'm not going to go out and scream robbery. Yes, I do certainly have some issues with the scorecards in terms of rounds that were given to Haney that I felt shouldn't be given to him. And that needs to be addressed, certainly. But in terms of Haney winning, I really don't have too much of an issue with it. Now, I know there's a lot of uproar. A lot of people are claiming robbery, etc. And I've said this once, I'll say it again. That word is chucked around way too much. Yes, have there been robberies in boxing? Of course there have, loads of them. And believe me, there have been judges who've tried to rob other fighters, like Alexander Usyk in the Joshua rematch. But this fight was close. It was competitive the whole way through. Lomachenko, although I felt he'd done enough to win it, he was never dominating it. You were never looking at this fight and thinking, he is putting a beating on Devin Haney. Apart from the 10th round, he never really pulled ahead. Devin was always in it. So when they announced the scorecards, with the exception of the 116 and 112, I didn't have that much of an issue with it. If it was a draw, I wouldn't have had an issue with it. And of course, if Loma won, I would have been saying, okay, I thought he won myself. So I've no real massive issue with the scoring. The 16-112 scorecard, I have an issue with that's too wide. But everything else, I thought that this fight was good. It was competitive. I enjoyed it throughout. I did prefer the cleaner shots, the power shots from Devin Haney. Having said that, Loma was landing flurries and punches and bunches, and you can't really ignore that as well. The eye-catching shots, snapping Devin Haney's head back with the jab. It was a great performance by both men. Absolutely massive credit to both guys. Lomachenko, once again, proves me wrong. I don't know, is he going to call it quits, or is he going to try and maybe get a rematch or stick around at lightweight, because Loma still has loads left in the tank even at 35. I'd love to see a rematch between Devin and Loma, but I fear Devin's future is at 140 pounds. And the reason I say I fear it is because I'd love to see a rematch with Loma, and Shakur was in the ring, and Shakur beats Devin. He beats Devin. There's no ifs or buts. Shakur Stevenson beats Devin Haney. Mark my words. Go back and look at this video. Shakur Stevenson will beat Devin Haney if they fight at 135 pounds. 100%. Shakur is special. He really is. So that's my thoughts on this. We'll do a live later probably, and we'll talk a bit more about it then, maybe about 7 o'clock, half 7. But for now, I'll leave you with that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and what your thoughts are on the scoring of this fight. Did you, like myself, have Lomachenko winning? Did you feel it was a robbery? At the end of the day, I said it once, I'll say it again, that word gets chucked around way too much. Are there fights that are robberies? Yes. Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall, a prime example. That's a fight where one guy clearly won and they gave it to the other guy. When you're talking about a close fight, that's different. It can go either way. You have fights that are close, and just because the general consensus is this fighter won, but this fighter gets it on a close decision, that doesn't mean it's a robbery. It just doesn't. The difference is when one fighter has clearly won this fight. Pacquiao Bradley won, clearly a Manny Pacquiao win, and they give it to Tim Bradley. That's a robbery, right? Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall, that's a robbery. Chisora Helenius, that's a robbery. This fight right here was not a robbery. No way. No way. Devin Haney, no issue with him getting the nod. None whatsoever. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. For now, I'll talk to you. Peace.